tombstone is also a statue. It's a little bit more delicate because it's of a child. For me personally, the death of a child is more traumatic than anything else. And I'm also at the same time scared if I hear ghost stories about children. It's a bit weird. So I feel sorrow for the death, but scared of them in the afterlife. But anyway, this next one is called, well, the statue's not called anything, but it's of the girl called, now I don't know if I'm going to pronounce this right, Inez Clark. It might be Inez, but I don't think so. It's I-N-E-Z, Inez, probably. Anyway, she died in 1880 at the age of 6, and her parents made a life-size statue of this girl. The kind of peculiar thing about it is it's not just, as you would probably imagine, just a sort of mundane look, just an ordinary look. Because it's a statue of her because she died, you would think that her face would be very neutral, but her face has actually got a hint of a smile, and she's in this lovely sort of dress with a hat, and her legs are slightly crossed with an umbrella, so she looks very to-do, you know, very sort of happy and content. But this is her tombstone, so that in itself is a bit strange. So this girl was actually killed in a storm while on a picnic with her family, so her death was very tragic. And she's buried in Chicago. So they put, not only did they make this sculpture of her, but then they also put this sculpture in a glass case to protect the sculpture from the elements so that it was preserved as well as it could be. But it's quite unnerving to look at this smiling young child in a glass cage. The whole thing is a bit scary, in a word. But then others might look at it and think, pretty. You know, that was how she was in real life, so that's how we want to remember her by, so fair enough. But anyway, there's a few ghost stories behind this one. It says that if the statue of a young girl wearing old-fashioned clothes in a cemetery wasn't frightening enough, there are many ghost stories surrounding the grave site. People have heard weeping coming from the area, and other people claim that during thunderstorms, so bearing in mind she died in a storm, the statue actually disappears, only to reappear later back in the glass cage. So there's been lots of people that have reported this eerie goings on with this statue. Whether they're true or not, we don't know, but claims have been made. But to me, the whole thing is a bit, I don't know, it's just a smile, but she's encaged, you know, it's all a bit weird and a bit strange. But have a look for yourself. gross. Ooh, gross. Oh, I'm just going to say right off. Sprung my Superman pants. Okay, so this next tombstone is also a statue, but this one is beyond gross. It is of a gentleman called Fernand Arbelot. I think I've said that right. His birth was in the... Hang on, I'm going to start again. For balls' sake! Hey guys, this next tombstone, again, is a statue. But this one is the grossest one. The other ones were quite peculiar and surreal and a bit eerie, but this one is just downright gross. That's all I can say. The sculpture itself is of a man who was actually an actor and a musician in the 18th century, called Fernand Arbelot. And he was married, and presumably they were inseparable because of this statue. It's in France, and the description says, "They marvelled at the beauty of the journey that brought them to the end of life." Now, the story behind that is that he loved his wife so much that even in afterlife, he wanted to be able to glance upon the face of his wife. So this statue is of him laying down and holding the disembodied face of just the head of his wife. So he's, instead of like making, I don't know, a photograph of his wife and holding that, or, you know, actually having a sculpture of his wife, you know, maybe draped over him and facing him that way, it's just a head. And it's not even a full head, it's just the face and then cut at the back. So it's just so creepy to look at. I mean, you can't describe it as being beautiful, even though the intent is that he wanted to, you know, be closer to his wife. The fact that her head is just, you know, without body and is half off anyway, it's just half her face, in his hands like this, and he's just staring. It's like a horror movie. It's just so disturbing. And there's a myth behind the deaths of this Fernand, and his wife, that he actually killed her and then committed suicide so that they would be together at the, you know, the moment of death at the same time, kind of like Romeo and Juliet. But there's no real sort of documentation and fact about it. It is just a myth or an idea. But yeah, it's, you know, it was his dying wish. So he's an actor and a musician. So bearing in mind he probably made a little bit more money than the average Joe. So he's obviously put in his will that he wants this statue made and the face of his wife in his hands so that he can gaze upon him, on her. But yeah, it's really, I don't like it at all, just because they could have done it in so many different ways without this scary horror movie half head in his hands. But have a look for yourself, see what you think. guys, this next tombstone is very dark. Now, it is of an old lady. She was 77, well, not too old, she was 77 when she died, and her name was Lily E. Gray, and she was buried in Salt Lake City Cemetery in 1958. Now, her tombstone is those ones that are just flat and, so they're not upright, they're just on the ground. Her tombstone just looks very ordinary. It looks like every other tombstone that's probably in there. But the dark and very disturbing message that is on her tombstone is why this is so creepy. It says, Lily E. Gray, June 6, 1881, November 14, 1958. So that's it. So there's no personal message about, her family members or some kind of dedication or how lovely she was or what she was like as a person. It just, her name, dates. So it doesn't even say born or died, it's just dates. And underneath says victim of the beast 666. Now, the reason why this is so scary is because her husband made this. And he died and is in the cemetery, the same cemetery, but is far away from her. So didn't want anything to do with her, wanted to be buried far away. So something happened between them in real life. Now, if they had like a marital dispute or they didn't get along or, just didn't like each other anymore and hated each other or whatever, then you wouldn't even give your time to put anything on the tombstone. You'd just probably put the name and the date and that would be it. So why specifically has this husband chosen to basically say that she was in some way possessed by the beast, which could be portrayed as the devil, because obviously 666 is associated with the devil. And victim of the beast. So did he mean that during life she was a victim of the beast? So the way she was as a person wasn't good, it was evil? Or did he mean now she's going to be the victim of the beast? Or did he want her to be the victim of the beast? We don't. It's a mystery, but it is incredibly disturbing to put that on somebody's tombstone. I mean, the hatred for him to have done that must have been so intense. But to be specific about actual Satan, the devil, associated with his wife, we don't know. We don't know what the story behind that is. So, in the picture that I've got, there's actually coins on top of the tombstone, and I don't know what that could resemble, what that would mean, but it's incredibly disturbing. I mean, surely this Lily, besides her husband, had other family, and they would have had some kind of say in it, surely, or Or if they didn't and they didn't know about it, have it removed or something. So there's another story behind that. Why didn't her family or her friends step in and say, no, you can't put that on a tombstone, it's ridiculous, it's scary, you're condemning her to hell basically, or whatever, I don't know. But have a look for yourself and see what you think.